The New York Times is often accused of having an anti-trans bias, so let's do a little exercise. I've taken a clip from a very recent episode of the New York Times' wildly popular The Daily podcast, and I would like you to listen to the clip and try to figure out what it implies about the consensus surrounding puberty blockers for minors experiencing gender dysphoria.
Allie and her mom met with a therapist and the doctor, who both agreed that exploring gender-affirming care was a good idea. But they also confirmed the family's fears. Tennessee had banned those treatments for minors in 2023. That ban had grown out of a number of concerns, some of them moral, some of them religious. But there was also a real debate within the medical community over the right treatment for these kids, over whether to intervene as early as possible or whether to wait until they reached adulthood.
Based on that clip, and puberty blockers for minors experiencing gender dysphoria is what they were alluding to, it sounds like there's really not much of a consensus on this. There are some doctors and experts and medical organizations that think this is a good thing, and there are others that think it's a bad thing. But in fact, although literally speaking, there is a debate, the vast majority of major medical associations, including virtually every major medical association in the United States, thinks that puberty blockers are a safe, effective, and important treatment for minors experiencing gender dysphoria, and it should be available as an option to doctors, patients, and the families of those patients when making decisions about how to navigate gender dysphoria. Yet, despite that, all they say in the podcast is, there's a debate. There's a real debate happening. And that's called a lie of omission, where you're technically telling the truth, but you're leaving something out in a way that's very misleading. Similarly, there are a lot of things that the New York Times would not frame that way, that they could frame that way. For example, vaccines, climate change. These are things where there are some experts, some people with a PhD and a tenured position at some big fancy university will say, no, vaccines aren't safe, humans aren't causing global warming. But what you do is you look at the professional consensus, and if the professional consensus overwhelmingly supports one position, you can't just say there's a debate about it. And what makes this extra frustrating is the fact that in many areas, the New York Times has a good reputation and does good reporting. So then conservative talking heads can weaponize this anti-trans bias by citing the New York Times. Like, hey, you're a lib, and even your favorite newspaper, the New York Times, agrees with me. Don't you care about the New York Times?
Do you think the New York Times is just lying when it says that puberty blockers can't be reversed?
Well, I don't care about the New York Times.